Hey everyone, it's Cruise Comp Captain here, it's Kale, and today I'm bringing a video which is going to be a real life case study using a cruise on Royal Caribbean to show an example of a lot of the concepts I talk about on my channel. It's the first time here, I'm Cruise Comp Captain. I live full-time on cruise ships through casino offers, and if you want to check out the other videos on my channel, they will go into detail about how I do that and some of the things that I do myself or that I recommend to others. Disclaimer on this one, this is going to be an entertainment example. It's not a recommendation, it's not a prescription. I'm not saying that you should do this. I'm just going to break this down for people who have had questions about what it might look like if you are going to just pay for the cruise yourself up front versus if you are going to try to earn some free cruises and how that might look differently. So I'm going to get into a specific example for a cruise about 1 month out from now, which is Symphony of the Seas on February 8th, 2026. This is just an arbitrary cruise I've selected, and it meets some of the criteria of of an interesting case study here. So the cost for that cruise right now is $2,800.40, or $2,840 for two people. And that's including port taxes and fees, that's including the cruise fare. And for that, you get an interior guarantee, which means that you do not get to select the stateroom, but you get an interior. So basically that's the lowest cost stateroom available. So if you wanted to say, hey, I want to cruise for as cheaply as possible, but I want to go on Symphony of the Seas, it's a nice 7-night itinerary. It goes to Nassau, Coco Cay, San Juan, Puerto Rico, Puerto Plata, Dominican Republic, you know, out of Miami, and it's still one of the largest cruise ships in the world, a lot to do. That would cost $2,840 as of right now with me making this video for two people. Alternatively, I'm going to show what it would cost if you did it through the method I show in my other videos. So what I talk about is the 1,500 point method that I kind of talk about, which is doing 1,500 points on two separate cruises. So if you earn 1,500 points in the casino, which on a slot machine is $7,500 bet through the machine, or on a video poker machine is $15,000 bet through the machine. It sounds like a lot of money. It's what you bet through the machine, not necessarily what you lose, right? And on a slot machine, generally the house edge is roughly 15%. So if you were to bet $10,000 through of money through a slot machine, you'd expect to only make 8,500 back after that 10,000 was wagered, meaning that you would have lost $1,500, right? On video poker, assuming that you learn video poker strategy, the edge is much, much lower. It can be only like 4% house edge, 3% on these ships, depending on which game you play in the pay table. So that would be, if you put $15,000 through the machine to earn the 1,500 points, an expected average loss of $600. And I like to even be more conservative and expect an average loss of $750, which is a 5% average loss. Now remember, these are averages. This is the mean, this is not the median. So those averages are brought up by the occasional very large win, but that does not happen very often. This isn't a U-shaped graph. You're gonna lose much more often than you win gambling, especially since you're playing against the house that has the edge. So most of the time you're gonna lose more than the average. Okay, I'm just gonna put that right out there. So I'm not saying for $600 you're gonna earn 1,500 points, although that is certainly within the range of distributions. It's certainly possible. So now that we've kind of established that those are the types of things people talk about, oh, how much of a bankroll should I build? What game should I play? Stuff like that. For games, I have another video. It's called Low Volatility Slots Guide. If you are going to play machines, I recommend playing low volatility machines. I'll do a whole video on it where I talk about it in detail, but the general sense is low volatility machines at the smallest bet that you have time to bet, right? If you enjoy the casino and you like to spend a lot of time there, I would just bet smaller and I'd play low volatility machines. So go ahead and check out that video for more information on that. For video poker, Same thing, if you want to keep your risk of ruin for a bankroll and you want to keep your required bankroll size down, Obviously, if you bet smaller, you can weather the swings of variance a little more if you have a capped bankroll. So assuming a 5% house edge to account for mistakes. Again, this is assuming with video poker, it's not like slots. You need to learn video poker strategy. You need to be good at it, or this number of 5% is way off. You will lose much, much more. So if we look at it mathematically, we'll start with slots. If there really is an 85% house edge, so that's a 15% hold by the casino, 85% return to player, meaning, and so a 15% edge for the casino. If you were to earn a 1,500 point offer, that would be an expected average loss of $1,125. Okay, because that's $7,500 through the machine, and 85% of that comes back to the player, right? And the difference between that and that, which I will put on the screen, of course, is $1,125, right? Alternatively, for video poker, even though you have to gamble twice as much money, since the expected hold is only 5%, right? So it's a third. The casino only holds a third. The house edge for the casino is 3 times more favorable to the player. It's 3 times smaller. Even though you have to bet twice as much, since it's 3 times smaller, the average expected loss for that video poker is $750, right? And for these 1,500 points that you earn on the list, as of the list that I was looking at an example, so I'm looking at this in November, I'm using a past one. This was an actual real life offer that I earned. This was on the list. This is a good sailing. And for 1,500 points, it earned you an interior for 2 people with $100 free play. And it's not an interior guarantee, so you actually get to select your specific interior stateroom. So by all measures, it's actually even better than the other offer. All you would have to pay is $337 and change in the taxes and fees. Because when a casino in the Royal Caribbean Casino gives you a complimentary offer, you're responsible for the taxes and fees only. Anything else is discretionary if you want to add gratuities, if you want to add a drink package, if you want to do anything else like that. But the only thing required to get you and the person you're sailing with on the sailing is to pay those taxes and fees. You're booked, you're good to go. So where does that leave you in terms of people say, how much of a bankroll? If that's the expected loss, I'll just bring, oh, cool, I'll play video poker, I'll bring $750, we're good to go, right? No, of course you're not. No. Like I said before, that's the average expected loss. You could lose way more than that. And since we're comparing it to a $2,800 cruise cost, you know, there's gonna be a wide range of distribution, which is why I recommend playing low variance. So video poker, that would probably be like single line jacks or better at $1.25. And then if you learn how to play and you can play at 1,000 hands per hour, right? That's 12 hours and you put 15,000 through. It's 12 hours across the whole cruise. So less than 2 hours a day if it's a 7-night cruise. And so those are some of the options for slots. Again, it depends how big or how small, but the smaller you bet and the lower variance, the less likely you are to run into that bankroll cap you put on early. So my rule of thumb for bankroll, and this of course is just a rule of thumb because there is a huge distribution of results. So I can give a super large one to be super safe, but it's very unlikely that you would hit that. So my super simple rule of thumb is for video poker to take the number of points that you're targeting. So for this particular instance, it'd be 1,500 points you're targeting. That's the recommended bankroll. If you're going to bet small, if you're going to bet $1.25 per spin on single line jacks or better, and you've learned perfect strategy and you've tested it out and you're coming close to, coming close to 100% accuracy, it's a pretty safe bankroll for most situations. Outliers happen, and if that's something you're not comfortable with, then I do not recommend doing this. For slots, I recommend taking even more conservative than the expected 85% hold. I'm even more conservative with slots because they are even higher variance. In general, if you can play very high variance versions of video poker, and that changes, but in general, I estimate an 80% return to player, so a 20% house edge, which I don't think it's that low, but it gives some more cushion and some more peace of mind. So I like to do it conservatively so people don't get, it's better safe than sorry, right? So you would take the number of points that you want to earn and double that in dollars. So if you're targeting 1,500 point offer, double it, 3,000, right? Bringing $3,000 to the slot machines, assuming you're playing low variance and low bet machines, should last you long enough to get to 1,500. And you're saying, whoa, well, why would I bring $3,000 and maybe lose 3,000 when I can just pay $2,840, right? With no risk and not spend any time in the casino. It's a good question. I'm gonna get into it right now. So there are also other benefits of playing in the casino and doing it this way. And first and foremost, I would say that if you don't like playing in the casino, if you don't like playing video poker, if you don't like playing machines, if you don't like gambling, if it makes you nervous, if it's not fun, don't do it. Like, just don't try to, put yourself through a lot of stress and uncertainty when you can have the certainty of just knowing your price, paying for advance, and relaxing. I know a lot of people with cruising, they like to pay everything up front, and they like to do that so that when they get on the ship, they can enjoy their time. Totally get that. This video and this strategy, as I've talked about before in my other videos, is especially powerful for people who can take lots of cruises, have lots of flexibility, and aren't just cruising once every year or once every couple of years. Because the other benefits, aside from hopefully, enjoying some time in the casino, if it's fun for you, is you can also get account offers in addition to the onboard certificate that you're earning on board. So the additional account offers will come in mailers in the mail, and they'll also come in digitally to your Crown and Anchor account. And these are not guaranteed. They're based on availability. They're based on your play. The formula for how you achieve those is done on the back end. I can't speak to that. I suspect that if you play slots, you'll get more offers and better offers than if you play video poker. But these things aren't proven, but you can potentially you could earn this cruise, even if it does cost you $3,000. Worst case, you bust that, or you go all the way up against the edge of that bankroll, and it costs $3,000, but you might get, and usually when you get an account offer, you're getting more than one. You might get several, you might get dozens, right? Really. And if it costs you $3,000 up front and then you get dozens, you're still way ahead of the game to paying $2,800 per cruise forever. So the second is the potential to earn Prime status in the casino. And again, I go into these in my other videos, but Prime status is in the casino rewards program at 2,500 points over a calendar year from April to April, you will earn free drinks in the casino. So if you are someone who likes to drink, if you drink enough to, sorry about the microphone, I'm getting used to it. If you drink enough to like to buy the drink package, Prime is a very valuable status to earn at 2,500 points because you get free drinks in the casino for that entire year. So if you have multiple cruises booked, that saves you the $115 a day. Obviously you can get it on sale, but if you go on the ship and you're like, hey, I want to do that, it's $115 a day right now for the premium deluxe beverage package. So on a 7-night sailing, that's another $805. A lot of these things can be future value. So that's why I'm saying if you're just kind of a one and done cruiser, or you don't know if you'll even be cruising on Royal Caribbean again next time or anything else like that, these things become less valuable. But for people who like to plan or want to build some kind of opportunity to cruise often with Royal, there's a lot of value here if you have the patience, if you have the discipline, if you have the mental and emotional control. And of course, if you enjoy doing it this way. If you don't enjoy it, disregard this whole video. Thanks for watching. See you later. And finally, not only would you get free drinks in the casino for a Prime cruise, but you get for Prime status, but you get a Prime cruise, which for me is a very valuable cruise because it's a 7-night sailing on almost any sailing that's 7 nights or less across Royal Caribbean's fleet and their year schedule. There are a few blackout dates. They send out a list at the beginning of the year, but that blackout date list is not that long. There are a lot of really cool sailings and a lot of international ones, the European sailings, Alaska, Asia, Australia, like all really cool ones that you aren't really going to get in your mailers, in your free account offers. And those cruises a lot of times can be upwards of $1,500 or $2,000 per person. So like a $3,000 to $4,000 cruise. So once you earn Prime, you get that too. So there's future value in playing in the casino in that kind of way. So this video's gone on for a little bit of time. Like I said, it's supposed to be a case study, but for $2,840, you can pay for the cruise. If you want to add drink package to it, it's $805. You know, you can always get sales. You can always do types of things. When I did this, it applied a Royal Caribbean sale for 60% off second guest, and everything else still $2,840. Whereas, obviously, you have to have earned this from a previous thing. But for 1,500 points, you can get this same sailing. And I've talked about different avenues to do it. There's other great channels that talk about table games. It's not my expertise. It's a little bit harder to measure, but you can do it in slots. You can do it in video poker. And I'm gonna make more videos going into more details about those, but this shows you a little bit of a case study. But for a bankroll of an expected loss on slots of roughly $1,125, or more conservatively, $1,500. And for video poker, conservatively a loss on average of $750, then you can earn the equivalent of a $2,800 40 cruise, plus all the future extras, potential account bonus offers, Prime potential for free drinks, and Prime free cruise. So final warnings with this video are, if you are not able to stick to a budget or a plan, or it makes sense on paper, but once you get into the casino and you're betting and it's exciting and it's late, and you're on a losing streak and you want to catch up, you want to get even, or anything like that is going to be risky for you, I do not recommend this at all. And again, this isn't a recommendation. This is just a theoretical thing for entertainment purposes. Do with it what you will, but it's for entertainment. And if it's more stressful than fun for you to be in the casino and trying to do it this way to save a few dollars, I do not recommend it, right? You're spending a lot of money and time and energy to be out here on a cruise. If it's taking the enjoyment away, or it's causing you more stress than relaxation and fun, then I wouldn't recommend going this route either. And finally, be prepared for variance. I think a lot of people who aren't experienced gamblers, if you are an experienced gambler, you know roughly already how swingy casino games can be, no matter whether they're table games or machines. If you don't have experience with this thing, just be warned, it's very swingy. You could have some experience in the casino where all you did was ever lose, and then you have other experiences where you went on a hot streak, and then you get false confidence that it'll last like that forever. Just be prepared for big ups and downs. That's why you want to have a bankroll far larger than the average expected loss, is because most of the time you will be on the losing side of the bell curve. And you need to be mentally prepared for that, or it will not be a fun time when that happens. So you need to keep things in perspective and decide things for yourself if you were ever to consider anything like this, but this is just a fun example, and I hope that it was helpful. If you have any questions about any of this, please feel free to leave them in the comments. I am going to do another Q&A video soon about those questions. Check out my first one if you haven't seen that. I try to get to everyone's questions, and people have really good ones, so leave them below and I'll hope to address them in a video soon. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. Check out my channel. Feel free to subscribe if you find it helpful. I hope there's more information that can help you guys to learn how to find good value on comped cruises. And otherwise, thank you so much for being here, and I will see you all in the next one.